Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is Sir Jedi Sentinel, and welcome back to Sentinel Reviews. Our look through RWBY continues with Volume 6, Chapter 4. So that's how it is. There is a spoiler warning in place, so if you have not seen Chapter 4 yet, the episode is now public, and in the description box below, you will see the link to Rooster Teeth's website where you can now watch the episode. And yeah, so we get two plots this episode. The first half of the episode is dedicated to the main group and dealing with the repercussions of what they learned from the previous episode. And then the second half of the episode is Salem's faction dealing with the repercussions of the ending of Volume 5. And one of the things a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, one of the things people talked about, they were complaining about the runtime. This was a 13-minute episode compared to the last episode, which was 26 minutes. And the complaints about the runtime kind of baffle me, because if you've stuck along with RWBY this long, you know that on average, the episodes are 13 to 15 minutes long, on average, and that full-length episodes, 25, 26 minutes, would be a full-length episode on TV with commercials, are usually saved for big, plot-heavy exposition, for lack of a better word, chapters like the previous one, or for the season finale. So, yeah, I found those complaints a little baffling, and I had no issues with it. What I did have issues with was the A-plot. Team RWBY and Crow dealing with the aftermath of the events of the previous chapter, dealing with what they learned, and we're still doing this. I'm going to say it again, because I said it in my Chapter 2 review. In action stories, fantasy stories, sci-fi stories, there is a trope that shows up a lot. It doesn't show up all the time, but it shows up fairly often. And when you have a good versus evil story like this trope is that at some point, the main characters learn that the person leading them has been keeping secrets from them. And then at the point where they learn what that secret is, they then turn on the person leading them, treating them as if they were as bad as the villain. And again, if you hadn't watched my Chapter 2 review, I hate this trope. It never works well, at least as far as I've seen. It comes out of nowhere, and it's just so clunky, There is no reason for this. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to put my frustration into words and not just make noises. And yeah, when the main characters learn this secret, it's always with the caveat that the leader explains is that, do you think you could handle this? And when the character turns on their leader, when the main characters turn on their leader, I always immediately go, no, you couldn't handle this. And just my frustration is exemplified with just, for me personally, the last episode, everything we learned really vindicates Ozpin. Like, really, the secrets he kept, he did nothing wrong. Like there's this debate going on right now after that last episode about who's really the one at fault. I'm not going to get into that debate, but personally, I think Salem is the one at fault. She is the reason that everything that's happened has happened. If she could have let Ozma go, none of this would have started in the first place, but she couldn't. And she was punished for trying to defy the gods. That is why everything happened. That is just my 2 cents on the debate. Please, feel free to share your own, though, in the comments. I always welcome comments, even if they're differing opinions. And honestly, Yang and Crow are the most frustrating here. Especially Crow, because I get the impression, I should have probably rewatched the previous volumes just to see what Crow knew and what Crow didn't know, because I feel Ozpin even kept secrets from Crow. But I get the impression that even though Oz kept secrets, Crow still trusted him. So for him to immediately turn, that came out of nowhere. We didn't get too much of a focus on Blake and Weiss's reaction. Yeah, they were mad, but it didn't seem they were as mad. And RWBY is still trying to keep the peace. RWBY is the only one this chapter that I liked, because it's like, it's coming across as, yeah, Ozpin kept secrets. Yeah, I don't like the information he kept from us, but I at least understand where he's coming from. I just hope that in the following chapters this plot point gets dropped, or they move on, because this trope is just so frustrating for me. And when I did this review, I was initially worried, because would my love of the series allow me to be unbiased, fair, and critical? Especially with the second half of the episode, because the second half of this episode was the saving grace. Because Salem's faction, give me a minute, Hazel, Mercury, and Emerald, because that's all that's left, because Adam went back to the White Fang, for some reason, they come back to tell Salem what happened. We get to see Tyrion again, who we didn't see since Volume 4, although I do feel the attachment to his tail was kind of anticlimactic, but we didn't see him in action. So there's that. And we get to see Salem's faction deal with the repercussions of their defeat at Volume 5, at the end of Volume 5. Kind of mixed feelings here, because for one thing, Salem blames Cinder for the failure at Haven, which is understandable. Although I feel it's more complicated than that, there was a lot that happened at Haven. I'm not getting into all that. And Salem said, as punishment for Cinder's action, she is to be left alone, completely isolated, completely cut off, until she can redeem herself. Now, I understand that, but at the same time, that seems really dumb. I mean, given that right now Cinder is in the cutthroat criminal underworld of Mistral, that's putting the Fall Maiden powers at risk. Especially after what you kind of went through to get them in the first place. But then, finally, the last chapter explained that Salem was a sorceress, but finally, we get to see an extent of her powers, and it is frightening, and it is an amazing scene. And just, it's so hard to try and look at this scene, again, unbiased and critically, because I just love Salem so much. Like I said, Jen Taylor in this role is just so hypnotizing. It's like, and we always knew she was kind of powerful, but we see just how powerful she is. I'm gonna give So That's How It Is a C, because while I like the ending half of this episode, I am so frustrated that with Team RWBY and Crow and Oscar and Ozpin, that this is the route they're going with in the plot. And it's just, if that's all this episode, I'm going to be honest, if that's all this episode focused on, I would have rated it a lot lower. But again, those are just my thoughts. What did you think? Start a conversation in the comments below. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and then click that little bell in the corner next to subscribe to get notifications when I upload. Because Subscribe decided it didn't want to do what its definition is anymore. Also, along with the link to the episode, in the description box below you'll find the link to my Twitter profile where you can follow me for channel updates and such. This is Sir Jedi Sentinel, and I'll see you guys next time.